Hey everybody, welcome back to your Resident Nerdical channel. Alright guys, today we are talking about Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. Alright. I'm mostly doing this because I really just want to unpack everything that I've processed. I watched this on Friday when it came, well, kind of the day after it came out, and I just really wanted to unpack it because I'm just like, there's a lot, and I don't know how to feel at this point. My first initial gut reaction was I was not a big fan. But after reading some more reviews and just hearing other people talk about it, I'm like, I'm still not a fan, but I'm okay with a little bit more of it. So my honest review, honestly, of this movie is going to be a 6 out of 10. Without any spoilers, I guess my biggest critique about this movie is that it does too much in such a little bit of time, and that's what's going on with the Marvel universe. That it's just, and it really bugs me, because I'm like, I think we need to stop worrying about trying to make things so big and so ginormous and so epic, and sometimes go with simplicity, because I think simplicity is sometimes like the best way to get things done. Like, hot take here, guys, and this is including No Way Home. I think Spider-Man, the very first 2002 Spider-Man, is the best Spider-Man of all time. The only reason why No Way Home does not beat this Spider-Man is because it's building upon its legacy. It's building upon not just other Spider-Man movies. If it was a standalone movie, like really without any background, it would not be as great. But versus 2002 Spider-Man, it's so good that it doesn't need anything else. I'm just like, hold the phone. All right, so into the Multiverse of Madness. The rest of this will be a spoiled review, so definitely, if you don't want to spoils, just go away. And if you want spoilers, here we go. Okay, so my biggest thing was the fact of all of, like, the new characters into, like, the MCU. Again, these are characters that we have seen before. Professor X comes, Reed comes from the Fantastic Four, Captain America, but it's Peggy's version. I think, do they call her something else? Captain Carter, right? They call her Captain Carter. And then there's just, who else is in there? Like a couple of just other people that frankly I don't know. In the Marvel world, but they were introduced. We're introduced to Maker Chavez. We finally get Wanda to in the theaters. We finally get her to be a really big role. Usually she's always like the sidekick, just a side story, nothing even that impactful. We do get her show, which I love her show, by the way. I loved WandaVision. And then we get her here. And again, even her storyline, I was not a big fan of, even though I loved her in WandaVision. But anyways, go back to all the characters that we're introduced to. Again, we see Professor X, and the guy who originally played Professor X is him! Okay, also, there's this TikTok creator, and I will, like, name her here. She talks about how he's actually from the animated series because of the wheelchair. She hypothesizes it, and they've already apparently announced that X-Men will continue from the 1990s animated series, which I think is amazing. But I'm sorry, you're gonna bring back that Professor X from that universe and then just KO him in like 3.3 seconds? Like, what was that? I was so mad. You're gonna bring back this amazing character and just do that to us. That's what it was. I was like, you're bringing back, again, Reed, who is this really cute, who's smart. We get, again, going back to, like, the 2000s era, we remember the Fantastic Four, we remember how amazing he is, and then again, you kill him off and, like, so fun. And this is nothing to do with Wanda's powers, it's everything to do with, I'm like, why are we introducing these characters? I feel nothing for them. Even though I naturally have, like, a sentiment towards them, it has nothing to do with this movie. It has nothing to do with this MCU, and I could care less. You guys are not having enough time to build up these characters, build up their significance. Again, Captain Carter, the only reason I know about her is because I managed to watch, like, the first couple of episodes of What If. And I would never have watched it. And if I had not watched them, I would be like, why is she... Like, it's just... And I know some of you guys are like, but you need the shows. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with... And here's the thing. Here's the difference between WandaVision and the growing of Wanda's character in the movie versus leaning on her backstory in WandaVision. Now, here's the thing. You don't need to have seen WandaVision to really understand what she's going through in this particular moment, because she's made it perfectly clear that she wants her kids, that there has been a world where she created fake kids something detrimental has happened in this fake world, and now she wants them back. And apparently they exist in another universe. If I had never seen WandaVision before, I would still be able to pick that up. I would still be able to understand what's going on. And that's fine. And that's exactly what a movie should do, even if you are building along that. Because even in the previous Avengers, because leading up to Endgame, even though we knew what happened in Civil War, they always managed to, like, let's drop in some few little, like, things that the fans can pick up or new watchers to pick up so they understand what's going on. And again, even if they've never seen it and never plan to see like the other movies, they'll still understand the significance and the importance of what's going on in these movies. And that's what they did with Wanda, but they did not do that for all the new characters introduced. And it's just such, and you're so focused on like, who is that? Like, I went with a friend who'd never watched a lot. He wasn't a big fan of Marvel, and he was just like, who, like, what, like, why is everyone like oohing and awing? And I'm just like, yeah. And I'm like, and I'm like, that's not what this movie should be about. I mean, yes, I know, but that's what series are supposed to be about. And then we get what I consider to be a very misleading title, Into the Multiverse of Madness. Okay, we all know, and everyone's been saying, they broke the time continuum. What did they call it? It's something from Loki that they call it, time variance or something like that. They broke. It was Wanda. It was Loki. It was Doctor Strange. It was Spider-Man. You know, and this is what I thought we're finally going to be addressing. What's been going on in Loki. Now, of course, probably Loki, they're probably going to do something about that in Thor. Now that I think about it, more than likely, they're going to touch upon like what's going on with the multiverse in Thor, which makes me upset because I don't know if I want to continue watching Marvel, you guys. Like, definitely leave a comment if you think I should go watch Thor because, this was such a hard movie to watch. Okay, and now for Wanda. Now, here's the thing with Wanda. I understand. Here's my issue with Wanda and what happened was the fact that we get her to we go through all the stages of grief with her in WandaVision, right? We go through like her finally accepting certain things about her grief towards the end, and she's like, I can't keep doing this, and she just moves on. And I understand that she's under the influence of the witch book before anyone brings that up. Yes, I understand that. But then how do we go from like her finally accepting her losses to the witch book, to her going crazy? It felt so out of place. It felt like Daenerys, right? Like, here's the thing. Now, again, a little bit of a hot take for Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, if you guys remember, Daenerys kind of does a similar, like, full-on 180. And again, I would be fine with Daenerys, and again, I would be fine with Wanda doing this if we had more time to explain what the heck, how we got from point A to point B. It wasn't enough, especially from giving us WandaVision. I'm like, it just... No. And so that was my biggest thing. You know, I did like seeing like her use her powers in her full capacity. And as cool as she was in this movie, I was just like, why did they have to make her the ultimate baddie, the ultimate villain? It just, especially with such a great character that I personally loved so much. And what made me excited for the continuation of Marvel, because after Endgame, I was like, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? And then Endgame happened, and then, you know, we get the shows Loki and WandaVision, and I'm like, oh, is this where we're headed? Is this where we're going? Y'all getting me excited? And then you guys, with the Eternals, and now with this, with again doing too much. Like, even America Chavez's character, when she was introduced, as much of excited as I wanted to be for her character, I wasn't, because I'm like, also, can we talk about the Bridgerton moment she had? The Bridgerton moment. Okay, someone there is a fan of Bridgerton. Okay, I could unless that actually happened in the comic books that she got scared by a bee, then someone's a fan of Bridgerton there, and I just find it hilarious. Okay, now the last thing I want to touch upon, and everyone talks about, is Sam Raimi's like element of horror. I liked it, but again, it was just so out of place. I was like, but why are we getting this to become like a semi-horror movie when it was so like, and it wasn't even like something that led up to the horror aspect, right? Like, you know, like horror movies, like from the get-go, they just like, you know, there's a certain like delicacy, like intricacy to horror movies, you know, that you understand like it's a horror movie from the get-go, right? One of the few horror movies that did it so well, Parasite was so well done that like the first, how long was that movie? I'm gonna guesstimate it was about 2 hours, but at least the first hour and a half, I didn't know like if I had not like if before I had not read a review that said that it was a horror movie, I would not have known it was a horror movie. But when it turned into a horror movie towards the end, it made sense because if you watch it again and there's certain moments that like it's like kind of like Wanda's like again it's a delicate balance that they do and it's beautiful versus the horror aspects in Doctor Strange. It was just so jarring and out of place and I'm like, but why are we doing this now? Like it's just and they were great. It was like again going back to Game of Thrones, it was like the last season of Game of Thrones. I'm like, this is great, but it doesn't make sense and you're just so again I just couldn't follow along. It's the thing with me is I can forgive a lot of things, I truly can, and I can forgive, but if you're gonna mess with the story to that point, I cannot forgive that. And that's the thing for me, I always care more about the story than I do about anything. Like I'm like, I don't care if it's like an unlikable character, I don't care about anything else. It has to be a good story. If it's an unlikable character with a great story, great. You know, it's kind of like one of the reasons why you like Vegeta from Goku. He has a great story, and even though he's really annoying, we like him. Alright, guys, let me know what y'all thought of WandaVision. If you've seen it, do you guys agree with me? Am I missing something here? Because maybe I have seen so many things, so many people talking about this, and what the missing of the mark is in this movie, that even I'm just like, yeah. Alright, let me know if you want me to elaborate on anything that I've talked about here, and leave a comment down below, and